up, y'all? It's your boy Z-Tec. Y'all know what it is. So this is the first video I'm making to help artists out. You know, I get a lot of messages, a lot of questions about a lot of different topics. What mics I use, what plugins I use. I mix my own track. Do I have another mixing engineer? So I wanted to make these videos to kind of chop everything up. This is video one of advice I wish I would have known back when I was starting, or even just with the experience I had. The first topic I would say would be the mic. You know, I get a lot of messages like, yo, what mic do you use? You know, how do you get such a clean sound? To kind of run things by, I had a theory back when I first started rapping that to sound like Drake, to sound like Kendrick, to sound like J. Cole, that crispy, warm sound, you know, I needed the most expensive mic. I come to find out the hard way that that's not the case. You know, you don't need a U87, you don't need that Sony mic, that 10 bands on a mic. You do not need all that to have a clean sound. It all falls back to the mixing engineer, and that's something that it took me literally like 4 to 5 years to grasp before I kind of came to realize that that's what it was. To run things by, the first mic I've ever used back in 2020 when I first started taking this series was the Blue Yeti. Bro, I know that's a podcast mic, but hey, your boy didn't know, right? So we all have our own little stepping stones. Then I went to the Blue what was it called? The Bluebird, right? I made one of my hottest track. Actually, the first track that I've ever released, Yabba Dabba Doo, was on that mic. And that song came out so clean, so crispy, because I used this one producer. He charged so much. That's why I couldn't use the mixing engineer again. But then I started thinking, you know, I'm like, yo, maybe to get my sound even more crispier, even better, you know, I need another mic. I got a TLM 103 banger mic, great mic. You know, it's a band, you know, depending on what your budget is, it was a good mic. Somewhat affordable. You know, some people might be like, yo, I can't afford a band, and other people are like, yo, you know, that's a decent. But for whatever, you know, I ended up saving money, getting my stuff. TLM 103, I would say, is a banger mic. If you could afford it, if you could save a couple bucks, get it, because it's great. Long story short, I still wanted to upgrade. I still felt like I wasn't sounding like I wanted to, right? So I got this bad boy, the U87. Don't get me wrong, it's a banger mic. It's great, it's warm, it captures so much dynamics, so much sound. It brings everything to life. But this is not what makes you sound good. What makes you sound good is the mixing engineer. It's how you could bring out the bright vocals, how you could keep the sound warm, how you basically, and it took me so long to realize this. Now I'm my own mixing engineer. I mix my own tracks, I master my own tracks. I know they don't sound crazy good, you know. I'm still learning as I go, but I kind of came to master the whole editing sound, the mixing sound, and the mastering part of this whole you know, trade, this whole skill set. So long story short, man, if you're thinking about, you know, if you sound a little weak on the mic, if you don't sound like you do, trust me, it is not the mic. You don't have to go out and blow 3 to 4 bands on a mic. It's the way you mix, the way you're either paying too cheap for a mixing engineer to mix your track, or maybe it's just a mixing engineer. Because let me tell you, that's what it is. Either way, my recommendation, TLM 103. You're looking at, what, like 1100, I think so, somewhere around there. But if you got a couple bands to spare, go for the U87. You'll never go wrong, and I'm not gonna upgrade nor downgrade. I'm sticking with this mic till the mic just basically stops working. And even when it stops working, I'm gonna get a maintenance, and I'm gonna get the parts fixed, and I'm gonna get it replaced. So yeah, moral of the story, it's not the mic, it's you. If you're the mixing engineer. If not, it's your mixing engineer. So make sure you get that on lock. I'm gonna be making a lot more videos. This is the topic of the day, which is the mic. A lot of questions. Hey, so make sure y'all, if you guys got any you know, good feedback from this, anything, make sure you like, comment, and sub. Not even sub, because it's IG. Just share. All right, y'all know what it is. Your boy Z-Tec tapping out.